The question came often when I was first consulting the I Ching, whether I was doing it right or wrong. Actually, it probably only came 6 months after I was using it and finding it of such great help. And suddenly the I Ching itself stopped relating to me. The questions that I asked and the answers that I got simply seemed irrelevant. And I asked myself, maybe I'm doing it incorrectly. And I found out that I had learned to do it upside down. So instead of constructing a hexagram with the first line being on the bottom, I had learned to do it from the top, so that the top line was the first, and the second line was the second, and so on down the line until we got to 6 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I was reading them in this direction. And I discovered that it was correct to build from the ground up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that, when I changed this, suddenly it started relating to me again. So there was a so-called right way to do it. However, I was aware that the voice that spoke through the I Ching had tolerated my mistaken views up to a point, and had said, in effect, now let's straighten this out in a kind way, simply giving me a message the best way it could. Now, I ran into this question again 2 years later, I would say. Someone said to me, saw how I was consulting the I Ching through tossing coins, which is an accepted method. However, this person was what I would call a purist. And he said, well, you can't do it that way. That's not correct. You have to use yarrow stalks. Besides, yarrow stalks give you a lot of time to think and meditate. And I thought, have I been doing it incorrectly? And so I thought, I'll learn how to do the yarrow stalks and do a hexagram with that question in my mind: am I doing it correct? Am I doing it correctly? The way I have been doing it. And I learned this method. It took me half an hour to make a hexagram. And I didn't understand the answer. It was totally mysterious. Again, it was like that time when it stopped communicating. And it was at night, so I went to bed, and I thought, okay, I'll let go of it for now. And the next morning it occurred to me to ask the same question using coins, my usual method. So I constructed a hexagram, and I got exactly the same hexagram with exactly the same changing lines, which I did not understand. But then I understood that it doesn't matter. And I have found throughout my experience with the I Ching that what matters is sincerity, that your questions answer your need to know. So that was a very valuable experience. Then the question came later, much later, in 20 years, when I accidentally, I say accidentally, but as we know there are no accidents, I had occasionally thrown 3 coins to mean plus, 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 negative, 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 when my daughter, who was 13, didn't come home in time, and I was worried about her. Is she okay? And I would throw the coins and plus, 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 she's okay. So I could relax, and she came in a little while. But I didn't use it like this till one day, after it was in 1994, I had done a hexagram, and it was very mysterious because it didn't seem related to anything that I did or anything that I needed to know at that moment. But just then the telephone rang, and a woman on the phone wanted to know if I could help her with a hexagram. And she was not understanding it. And I realized that the hexagram that I had received was exactly the one that she needed. And so I proceeded to draw all of the analogies from that hexagram, and it was perfectly satisfactory. I was a little bit astonished at this after the fact, because I believed that I had always rather believed that the hexagrams applied to me and not to other people. But then I thought, I'd better ask with the 3 coins from now on, does this apply to me? And often I found it didn't. It was sometimes applying to someone in my family whose situation I needed to better understand. So I frequently started using this method to find out whether the hexagram was meant for me and whether I had understood it correctly. This was what I came to call the retrospective 3-coin method, by which I could find out if the hexagram, if I understood it correctly the way that the sage wanted me to. Well, this completely opened up the I Ching in a new way for me. Now, I used this method for some 6 months, maybe, and it was so helpful. But still there was this nagging question, was it right or wrong? Did it fit within the scope of what the people, the purists would say, what is that? So one day I made the decision to throw 10 coins. Now, this is not the answer I got, but here's what happened. I threw 10 coins, and 9 of them came up. Yes, 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 yes. From that time on, I realized that it was not only legitimate, it gave the sage much more space to talk to me, to communicate messages that were actually only faintly hinted in the text or buried in the text of the I Ching. So the question never was right or wrong. It is sincerity and need.